Today we're going to talk about the structure of the SSAT exam and determine which level is for you. Alexis Avila here at our office in Wellesley, Massachusetts. For questions or tutoring in person or online, visit preppedandpolished.com or call 781-753-9951. And remember, if you find value watching this video, smash that like button and click the subscribe button, and also click the bell to get notifications for new videos. Thank you. Now, the SSAT is used as a standardized test for students who are wishing to enter into independent schools across the U.S. The SSAT is broken into 3 different levels, depending on the grade level of the student and the grade that they're wishing to enter. Now, if you have a student who's currently in 3rd or 4th grade and are looking to apply to 4th or 5th grade, they're going to be applying for the elementary level of the SSAT. This test has several sections that are also found in the middle level and upper level tests of the SSAT. Those sections are quantitative, math, verbal, reading, and writing. Each section is scored between a 300 and 600 scale, combining for a total of somewhere between 900 and 1800 total. Now, each section of the test focuses on different aspects of common material a student should have learned or mastered in 3rd or 4th grade in order to apply to 4th or 5th grade at independent schools. There's a quantitative math section, which is 30 minutes that has 30 questions. After that, a verbal section for 20 minutes with 30 questions. Students are then given a 15-minute break, then a reading section for 30 minutes, 28 questions, and a writing sample, which is 15 minutes. There's also an experimental section, which is somewhere between 15 and 17 questions and lasts 15 minutes. In total, the test is about 2 hours and 5 minutes with breaks. The content that's covered in the quantitative math section of the elementary level can include basic addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, as well as place value, ordering of numbers and fractions, basic concepts of geometry, measurement, and interpretation of graphs. The verbal section covers synonyms and analogies. Students will be asked to understand what a word means and what is the synonym or same definition of the word. Analogy is used to create relationships between words, and students are asked to create a relationship and find an answer choice that follows the same relationship. The reading section is meant to test the student's ability to gather evidence from what the main idea of the passage is, as well as creating inference based on information that's given, to understanding tone and the author's meaning, as well as details from the passage. The writing sample is ungraded but goes along with the application for students applying to independent schools. And this writing prompt is used to identify how soon you can structure a response given either a picture or a statement and see the creative writing that a student has. Overall, students who wish to take the elementary level of the SSAT want to make sure that they have a base foundational knowledge in both math and verbal, including vocabulary knowledge, but also practice their time management skills for the reading section as well as the other sections. The middle level of the SSAT are for students who are currently in grades 5 through 7 who plan to apply for 6th to 8th grade at independent schools. Each section, which is exactly the same as the elementary level, are graded between a 440 and 710 per section, with a total between 1320 and 2130. However, starting in the middle level, the sections are structured differently. You first begin with a writing sample, which is 25 minutes, followed by a 5-minute break. The first quantitative math section, which is 30 minutes with 25 questions. A reading section, which is 40 minutes and 40 questions, then another break, which lasts about 10 minutes. A verbal section, which is now 60 questions for 30 minutes, and a second quantitative math section for 30 minutes and 25 questions. There's also an experimental section for 16 questions that last 15 minutes, and in total, it is 3 hours and 5 minutes long. As with the elementary level, the middle level will also test students on math skills, this time though branching into algebra, geometry, and other quantitative concepts that are typically found in the later part of elementary and middle school years. In addition, the reading section will focus on literary fiction, humanities passages, science such as anthropology, astronomy or medicine, as well as social studies, history, sociology, and economics. The material that's covered in the reading section is a little bit more advanced than the elementary level, so students will still have to figure out what the tone is or inference, main ideas, and the like. And the verbal section now has 30 questions for synonyms and 30 for analogies, and students are still being asked to find the synonym for the STEM word as well as create a relationship between the STEM words in the analogy section. However, now the terms will be a little bit more complicated and more complex based on the student's grade level. The essay now at the beginning of the test will also include 2 prompt options for the student, typically seen as one creative and one personal. Again, this section is unscored, but goes along with the application for students applying to independent schools. The importance of test prep for the middle level student is to get them prepared for concepts that they may not have covered yet, for math, building up their vocabulary, and ability to connect words together in the verbal section, as well as get more in depth with complex topics in the reading section. Now, the final level of the test is the upper level. These are for students who are applying anywhere between 9th and 12th grade, meaning students who are currently in 8th grade all the way through 11th grade. Each section is now scored between 500 and 800 for a total between 1,500 and 2,400. The structure of the upper level test is exactly the same as the middle level, with a writing sample at the beginning for 25 minutes, followed by a 5-minute break. The first quantitative section for 30 minutes, 25 questions, reading for 40 minutes, 40 questions, followed by a second break, this time for 10 minutes. A verbal section for 30 minutes and 60 questions, and a quantitative section, the second one, for 30 minutes and 25 questions. Finally, the experimental section of 15 minutes and 16 questions is at the end for a grand total of 3 hours and 5 minutes. Now, each level of the test has an experimental section, which is ungraded but gives the students the opportunity to see and experience more questions based on either the quantitative, reading, or verbal sections of the test. Now, when students are preparing for the upper level test, it's important to remember that if you're dealing with an 8th grade student, there are going to be concepts and material that the student has yet to cover, specifically in the math. Now, many students who are in 9th, 10th, and 11th grade have either completed some form of Algebra 1, 2, geometry, or even pre-calculus material. These concepts have a potential of showing up on the upper level test. So if you have an 8th grader who's taken the upper level, please be sure to work with a tutor to make sure that they can catch up on all the material that could potentially show up on the test. Similarly, as we are looking at the verbal section and the reading section, the student will encounter more challenging terms, tougher connections and relationships, as well as more complex and varied topics in the reading section, followed by equally challenging questions. The upper level essay will also include 2 prompt options for the student, typically seen as one general and one personal prompt. And again, this essay section is unscored, but goes along with the application for students applying to independent schools. Now, the point of the SSAT in any level, elementary, middle, or upper level, is to test the student's ability to gauge what they're capable of so that when they're applying to an independent school, the school understands what that student is capable of. Now, I recommend if you're looking to take the SSAT, you have your student work with a tutor. You don't have to work with Prepped and Polished, but it's important to work with an experienced tutor to help you understand specifically what you need to learn and what will be tested. Now, if you have questions about the SSAT, please feel free to call us or email us. We'll be happy to set up a consultation with you and your student to understand really what is that they are needing in terms of prep work for either the test or simply with the process of application for independent schools. Again, good luck for any of you out there who are planning to take the SSAT, and please let us know how we can be of help. Thanks for joining us today, and good luck on your SSAT exam, and I'll talk to you soon.